Of you here this evening to the Louisville City Council meeting, March the 6th, 2023. At this time, we're going to have our public hearing. If you are planning on speaking, since there will probably be quite a few of you that will want to speak, we ask you to come up to the microphone, state your name and your address. You will have 3 minutes to say what you have to say. I will have a timer. It will go off at 3 minutes. When you hear the timer, you're finished. I'd appreciate if everybody would cooperate with that. So at this time, Tiffany, I'm going to ask you to please read ordinance number 23-06 for the public hearing.
Being an ordinance amending the boundaries of the zoning districts as provided by ordinance number 7933, whereby changing the lands described herein from R1, single-family, low-density suburban residential.
Can you turn it up, please?
It's on the screen. That is exactly what. Okay, all right, listen up, please.
I'll talk loud.
She'll talk loud.
Thank you.
Being an ordinance amending the boundaries of the zoning districts as provided by ordinance number 7933, whereby changing the lands described herein from R1, single-family, low-density suburban district, residential district, to B5, general retail, office, and motorist services business district.
All right, if anybody wants to speak, I ask you to raise your hand. I will recognize you. You'll come forward, state your name and address. You will have 3 minutes. Okay, sir? Come up front.
Okay. Thank you. I'm Todd Bosley, the Nimishillen Township Fiscal Officer, and I'm here on my own behalf. I'm not here representing the township necessarily. I live on Peach Street at 6460 Peach Street in Louisville, Ohio. Our property basically touches Louisville City, and we're just the first property inside of the township. I don't know what you guys are going to do with this development down there, and I'm not here to give you a hard time. I just want to say, from my perspective, over the last couple years, I was talking to your police chief before the meeting started. I had, and it's pretty well known, although I haven't really publicly talked about it, I had open heart surgery 2 years ago to repair an aortic valve issue. And when I see what's going on down on the Peach Broadway Avenue area, it concerns me because I think about how long does it take to get to a hospital. And I don't know if any of you have driven down there lately. 4 o'clock is a great time to start, but from about 4 to 5:30, it takes an extraordinary amount of time to get down Peach, onto Broadway, and then on to 62. And so for me and for our residents, or even your residents, the people that live in that area, this equates to more time to get to a hospital. And as you're making your decision, I just want you to think that out tonight. Think about if somebody is having a medical emergency, how long it would take them to get to the hospital. And I just want you to keep that on your mind. Thank you.
Thank you, Todd. Okay, do we have a second one? Okay, come on over, sir.
A.K. Fulmer, 651 Weaver & Way, Louisville, Ohio. Mayor, council, thanks for your time. I'm a certified zoning inspector, and switching to a B5 seems like a gross oversimplification to switch to a business district. Without any sort of solid plan of what's coming in, to switch to the least restrictive business zoning takes away the city's power to determine what goes there. 5 years, 10 years, 15 years from now, the developer can make their own choices in accordance with the zoning code. I'm not 100% opposed to business zoning, but to switch to the least restrictive business zoning gives the developer carte blanche to do what they like. And I really fear that that takes away this council's ability to provide for the best interests of this city, whether that be business zoning or residential zoning. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, come on up, ma'am.
Angela Chase.
Okay, we can't hear you.
Angela Chase, 4484 Sunnyside Avenue. Can I hand you guys something?
Sure.
Real loud? There seemed to be some confusion about who this affects, so I just brought some maps with highlighting to show you. You guys wanna pass those around? My family and I moved here about 4 years ago from Georgia. We lived in the country and we wanted to enjoy, continue enjoying all that the country has to offer. When we found our current home, we were thrilled to find a property with a few acres for our children to run and play on. We checked the zoning of the proposed property that our property borders to make sure that it was for agriculture or residential, and it was. So we proceeded to invest in the purchase of our home. We've enjoyed our oasis from the hustle and bustle of everyday life. We've enjoyed our farm-field view, and yes, Mayor Fellick, it is perfectly acceptable for people to want to have a view of a cornfield or any field that they want. So, in the article that you were quoted in the repository, you said that you were eager to make things happen. And if that's the case, then you're welcome to put this in your own backyard. We do not want this in our backyard. The proposed plan, which is on there, would put a 3-story building 100 feet from our personal backyard. This building would tower over the single-story homes around it. And I'm a little confused by Mayor Fallett's response that the Fairhope residents aren't even close to it. That's again in the repository article. We are. This is literally in our backyards. The thought of strangers peering from the window of this building, watching our children and the neighborhood children run around and play is concerning to me as a mother. I am all for new businesses in our community. It's a good thing. Growth, change, it's a good thing. But disrupting a neighborhood when there are much better locations here to put a strip mall, it just doesn't make any sense. And the blatant disregard that we have felt as residents that this directly affects is frustrating to say the least. This proposed plan negatively affects both city and township residents. We don't want this in our backyards. If you would not want a strip mall in any of your backyards up here, then you need to vote no for this proposed rezoning. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am?
Good evening, my name is Shannon Benson. I'm at 5592 Upperman Avenue in Louisville. First thing I want to say is that we have a history of it being Louisville and Nimishillen Township, and that's something that needs to stop right now. We are 44641. 44641 involves the township and it involves the city. So does it affect the people in Fairhope? Absolutely. Does it affect the people that live in Louisville? Absolutely. Does it affect me that lives across 62? Absolutely, because I'm 44641. I want to see our area grow and prosper and change, but I want it to grow and prosper in a way that we are looking at the future and what's going to happen with our future and the families here. Can we support the facilities that they want to put in? Can the roads support it? Can our fire department support it? Can the sheriff's department support it? Can the police officers support it? Can the schools support what they want to do? We have an amazing school system, a school system that I will support every single day of every single minute. But we're at capacity in our school system right now. And our roads here are at capacity. The township is now going to be paying for a traffic study because of things that are happening within Louisville city limits in everybody's backyard to make sure this is feasible. What I want to know is what has this group of people done to prepare for the future of this? Have you done your traffic studies? Have you done your school studies? Have you checked to see if this classroom that has 29 students that was only built for 25 students can handle 30 and 34 students? We need to work on our infrastructure, build it up first, so then we can build out our community, so that we can attract more people. We want this to be a place that we can live, we can work, and we can play. But if you're taking one of those things away, play, we don't have sidewalks. How are you gonna even walk to anything? Where are the kids gonna play in this? Me as an adult, where can I play? I can't walk down Peach now currently, it's too dangerous. So what I wanna see is if we want to grow this and we want to do this, I wanna see that all the work has been done ahead of time to tell us here in 44641, how will this work? How will it affect us? And what have you done for our future? Thank you very much.
Anybody else?
Hello, my name is Lauren Sifty. I live at 6295 Plum Street. I've recently done quite a bit of digging. There's currently 6 different properties that are zoned in this area for B5. I'd like to know why this couldn't be on another one of those properties. For example, 6879 Croc Street in Louisville, right up against the highway. You've got wonderful, highway viewage. A ton of people traveling every day would be able to go past, all these buildings, all these, what you have planned. And I feel like that would be a much better use of that space than Peach Street.
It was 6879.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And as Ms. Benson said earlier, live, work, play. We all want that. We all want, our community to grow. We want to grow together. But doing this, we feel like we're kind of being, shysted a little bit. I'm sure that's not the case, but just being upfront and honest. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir, come on up.
My name is Ben Chase. I live at 4484 Sunnyside, and I am strongly opposed to this change in zoning. To begin, there's a lot of discussion about what kind of change this is, good change or bad change, and whether residents here even support change at all. Everyone in this room supports some form of change. Everyone has voiced some level of support for the published planning guides that the city has on their website. Those are good changes. We all see the blight and challenges in our city today, and we all want solutions and to see those changes become a reality. Those planning guides are a portrait of hope for what our city could become. A beautiful destination city with unique constitutional history. A place where people visit, celebrate our nation, its laws, and our shared freedom and democracy. But especially with this unique history in mind, our city and its elected leaders must work to set an example for the rest of the nation, to practice the best version of democracy that our Constitution has defined. There are many residents who speak of frustrations about elected leaders in this city who choose not to listen to their voices. They say you have to have the right last name or the right bank account before your voice and vote matter. I hold unyielding optimism, and that's maybe too naive, but I hope this campaign would be different. I reached out to each of you 5 members of the city council in the past couple weeks with concerns and questions, and not one of you, none, answered them. Murray Fallett, in particular, it seems that you've chosen willful blindness. You've dismissed the concerns of the residents as distant, disconnected, and far away. I've tried to reach out to you and to explain many of the details that you're hearing tonight. I've sent you emails with different renderings of the neighborhood that show how we all live in close proximity to this parcel. I've written to you explaining that I share a property line with it. I might understand if you dismissed us living in the township because we're not your constituents, but that brings me back to the beacon of democratic light that Louisville should be, not satisfying the minimum requirements of our representative democracy, but leaders instead actively pursuing feedback and the thoughts of residents who must bear the consequences of their choices. I am concerned, Murray Fallett, because I heard from Mr. Hall that you indicated B5 is just retail. You've held the title of mayor. I keep mispronouncing it. You've held the title of mayor for more than a decade, and I've only looked at the zoning criteria in Louisville during these past 2 weeks. But the document I received is an easy read, no more than a few pages long, and it clearly defines a B5 parcel as far more than just retail. In fact, it's the highest classification of commercial zoning the city has. It would allow someone to build far more objectionable projects than the unfinished plans we've seen so far. I tried raising this to your attention, but again, heard no response. We're concerned that zoning this parcel B5 risks harm to our neighborhood that will last for generations into the future. If it absolutely must be commercial and retail, you could accomplish those goals at zoning far less than B5 and thereby contain some risk of harm to our neighborhood. Finally, as to what these plans might be, I've heard maybe medical, maybe insurance, maybe even a bakery. And to Mayor Fallett, if you're determined to ignore us and destroy our neighborhood with this commercial zoning, then I hope you get a bakery, because if you're going to continue to run this city,
Your 3 minutes are up.
then at least it would be easier for us to eat some cake.
Anyone else like to speak? Yes, sir.
My name is Jacob Cason. I am Ben's neighbor on the Sunnyside, 4460. You know, the one thing in the article in Canton Rep that kind of really just champed my butt was the basic fact that you say we don't live there. We live there. We're right there. We're right next door to all that. The second thing is, you're saying it's going to provide a tax rate, right? It's going to relieve taxes on the rest of us. There's a quote in there. I don't know if anyone has a quote. There's a quote in there. You said it will bring in more taxes to the community and it'll take taxes off everyone else's property. How much is that? How much are you thinking that businesses there are going to reduce our taxes for us to have those buildings and whatever else going there? And the last thing, that's where our kids play. There's plenty of commercial space in this town. It's a B5. You do not need a B5. If you're gonna put something up there, I get it. I understand that. I'm for change. I'm okay with that. I love the idea of new businesses coming in. But, come on, guys. Let's put some thought into it. If at least anything, put it on the ballot and let us vote for it. So, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Name's Wayne Morris. I live at 5945 Daisy Street. And I got one question. I was wondering, did you guys all know this was coming about before the land was even sold? Did they talk to you and say that, is it possible to make that change to do it? Because I dealt with in Pike Township that way. Things was done before. I had commercial property now, well, in fact, industrial. And they kept trying to change it to residential. I don't know how it works, but somehow they go to residential. Whatever business, the acreage behind me belonged to Ceramic Tile. So whatever's behind me, they want to change it all to residential, and I don't know exactly how it all works. I don't know if they all get their hands in the money on that, but then they were going to change it back to industrial. They did that to the woods down in East Sparta. It was nothing but a car wash. It was already commercial property. They went to the meeting, they want to change it. They said if they come to the meeting, they will change that commercial property to residential. If they did that, they can go back and do a commercial, and not only could he have a car wash, but then he can also have a gravel pit at the same time. But it had to go back to residential before they all agreed to what he wanted to do. I don't understand how it all works, but that's the way it was. I'm telling you, that's the way it was. I went to the meetings, and believe me, I went through a lot over just a commercial property. And I don't know how that is, but somehow you can change from one to the other, and I don't know if it's because you guys get money out of it, or if it's, but I was wondering did you not know before they bought that property, they weren't gonna pay all that money for some land, just leave it to put a cornfield on? They had to come somehow to say something to you guys to make this change. They either asked for a variance or whatever to do it. And I dealt with enough of the East Sparta in Pike Township, and that's my only question.
East Sparta and Pike Township?
That was in Pike Township. The Pike Township landfill was put on residential property. Okay? It was put on residential. But then they changed it to commercial. Okay? And that's how it started out. It started out with residential. And they had to know ahead of time that that landfill was coming in. And it was put right down in the middle, right there above Bolivar, and all the people had to be around that landfill to smell it. Okay? And that's what it smells like here. It smells like, you guys had to know that change was being, if you had to okay it or something, let them know, go ahead and buy it, we will make that variance change. So, that's all I had to say. Thank you.
Yep.
Hello, my name is Christina. I live at 1807 Packview. I'm the owner of Jack and Wiley Gift Shop. I wanted to come up here because I think it's frustrating that we want to open more businesses outside of town when we don't support our businesses locally already. How many of the downtown businesses are allowed to stay unrented without somebody in there? How many Dollar Generals do we have? I mean, how many of you sitting up here have been to Jack and Wiley, our gift shop? Pat has. Anybody else know where our gift shop is? How many of you have been to the other local businesses here? How are we gonna support and keep businesses in when we're not already handling business with people who live in town, work in town, go to school in town, and we wanna bring, we wanna develop outside. I don't have a speech plan, but it's kind of frustrating that the city council, the chamber, don't support the family businesses that are inside, and we're looking on the outside for the big corporations. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
I'm Stephanie Porter from 5455 Francesca Street, and we just moved in a few years ago, and we bought our home for somewhere safe for our kids to be in Louisville City Schools and have a safe neighborhood where they can play outside, and I didn't have to worry about them so much as being in Canton or somewhere else. Over the years, traffic has gotten significantly worse on Broadway. To make a left off of Francesca to get to Broadway, to go to 62, during certain hours of the day, I have to peel out to get in front of people to even make it onto Broadway to get to the highway because people fly down Broadway. So I only see that getting much worse if you put a commercial property in there. Please keep it residential. I want somewhere safe for my kids to be. We also have noticed as more traffic comes down 62, and especially with Amazon opening up, I only see it getting worse. Cars from the highway break down or run out of gas. So we have strangers approach our house frequently, asking for help for rides to the gas station, and luckily my husband is home most of the time to take care of it, but if he is not, that frightens me. And I'm already worried as it is that something can happen to my children and someone can take off on the highway and they're gone. And I just see it getting worse with having more businesses right there in that area. I didn't move into the city because I didn't want to have to be around all of that traffic and have to have those concerns, and I'm really disappointed that this is even a thought at the moment. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Scott Upperman. I live at 4465 Sunside, and I thank you for inviting us to voice our concerns. And with that in mind, are you respecting our thoughts and our pleas to you about our concerns? You've opened this up for the community to come out and show you, not only from Nimishillen Township, from Louisville. And this is very important to us. And I plead with you to reconsider your thoughts on this and treat us like we mean something and we deserve something. We buy for location, location, location. You live where you want to live for that location. And now you're going to affect these people with a zoning of B5. Ridiculous. Not very respectful. We love our community. We love a small community. It's what we grow up, and we want to stay in that community. And we chose those locations by what we see and we perceive to be a good location. Let's keep these people and our concerns at the top of your list. We're more important than a building, a grocery store, gas station, or heavy industry. We don't need this in our area. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Hello, my name is Tim Mace. I live on 4303 Sunnyside Avenue in Louisville. A former business owner as a car wash. I'm not looking forward to this zoning, because what's going to happen is we all live here in Louisville. And if we want to go shop to Walmart or where, we go there. You know, we want to live in a quiet neighborhood. And if that gets developed, you're going to create a mess because just of traffic, business. There will be if a gas station comes in, right behind it, a car wash is going to go right with it. And you see all these car washes popping up everywhere. So now, if we're living, there, we hear all the traffic, all the commotion. Right down here by Aldi's, there's an empty strip mall right there. Or right over here, there's 35 acres right on 62 that can be developed, and that's already zoned, as a B5. Why not use that? Let us, we want to walk around our neighborhood, say hello to our neighbors, enjoy it. That's why we moved here. We support Louisville, and everybody that lives here loves it, and we want to stay here. That's all I got to say.
Thank you, Tim. Yes, sir. Your name and address?
My name is Baldwin. I live at 5574 Clover Street in Louisville, Ohio. Some of the frustrations that come from me is situations like this where we've got a nice community, we've got a lot of great people. You guys have over 100 people that showed up here today. And I think that says a lot. There's not 100 people surrounding just that border of where the property is, but you have 100 over 100 people here who are concerned about the city and what's gonna happen to it. The location is in a nice quiet area, and by developing in that area, especially if it becomes a strip mall or whatever the theoretical plans are at this time, you're gonna be attracting a much different group of people to that area, including from the Canton side, which does not have the best record as far as crime rates and statistics. You're going to be allowing them a closer avenue for people to gather, which would be quite undesirable for the people who have chosen this neighborhood because of the quiet and quaint area. It's central, it's nicely located too, to be convenient to be able to go to where they want, just off the highway as well. And before considering doing zoning in that area for B5, it'd be nice, at least for the constituents, to know what the economic impact of that does look like. And I feel like this has the tendency, and I feel like Louisville has this mindset of run before you can walk. It just seems like it wasn't well planned. We don't have the community's buy-in from the people in that area, and being a government for the people, by the people, proceeding with this is going to, it basically just offsets all that. And one last thing I do want to note is, we've talked about other properties, and there's a whole bunch of property right now for sale right by the Chesapeake area. This seems like a situation where a developer came in, saw an opportunity to buy some land cheap and to be able to shortcut and circumvent some of the restrictions and finances to try and develop in this area, when there's lots of other areas that would probably be better suited that are already under business zoning as well. That's all I have today.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
My name's Scott Palmer. I live on 236 California Avenue, which is right at the top of the hill where Peach Street empties out in California. Since the Redwood project has been installed and being occupied on Peach Street and on Broadway Road, we've been noticing a large increase in traffic. And if you notice, there's electronic speed limit signs now trying to hold a mile per hour down on Peach Street. My question is twofold. One, that area that's being proposed for a zoning change is a wet hole as far as agriculture is concerned. There's a waterway that runs through there and also a creek. So by developing this ground, you're going to add to the water load that's already in that corner around Peach Street, Broadway Road. There are currently being built retention ponds on the corner of Peach and Broadway Road to help maintain, or I should say manage, the water flow for runoff and storm drains and all that stuff in that area. My question is first off, it's not aesthetically pleasing. If you take a look at the medical buildings at the end of California, those retention ponds are basically nothing more than cattail ponds because nobody manages them, nobody maintains them. They're just basically a hole that catches water. We're gonna have the same issue down on Broadway Road. The other effect is, what about traffic down Peach Street? I understand there's a traffic survey that will be done in the future if this passes. How are you gonna handle traffic on California and Peach Street when it's already a barely highly trafficked road and nobody maintains 35 mile an hour on that top of the hill? They're doing 45, 50 before they hit the city limits, and that maintains itself clear down to California and 153 at the light. So them are concerns. The last concern I have is 4 to 5 years ago when Redwood development was being established, we had a meeting very similar to this. And you had a very well out attendance very similar to this. My question is this going to affect anybody's mind as far as how they vote for this, because it seemed like in the past, when Redwood first come up, those votes were already done before this even took place. This was a formality to let people let off steam, and it had no direct effect on how the zoning vote was taken that night. My question is this the same dog and pony show? Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
My name is Debbie McKinney. I live at 4421 Beck. And I wasn't planning on speaking tonight, so I have not checked my facts, but we are sort of like an in-between street in that neighborhood, and we have well and sewer because of the overflow that is in that area for the sewer. We always have a big pile of water because everything comes flowing up and everything. And I just wondered, is the sewer and stuff for this going out Peach Way, or is it gonna come back into our neighborhood, or what's gonna happen with all of that stuff? Because there's already not sufficient drainage and stuff like that in that area.
Hi, my name is Greco, and I live at 5393 North Nickel Plate. I think what I just want to reiterate on what a lot of people have said already is when I stand here and look at you guys, I think more than ever in our world today, when you put your name on a ballot and you're asking these people to put an X by your name and you get elected, you are merely a steward of our voices. When you're sitting up there today and this many people have to show up to tell you this isn't what we want, have you done your due diligence as your position as an elected official to represent your community? My husband and I moved back here after being away for 20 years, and I feel like Louisville represents community. And when I go shopping, if I want something big, like they're building a giant Myers 7 minutes from us. It's probably gonna have a gas station. It's probably gonna have a Jiffy Lube and a chicken store too, because that's what they all do. We live by Jackson Township, which is 10 minutes away. Everything is at our fingertips. But I didn't move there. I moved to Louisville because I'm multi-generational. And I come here because of safety. I come here for the schools. I come here for community. And I think what's important is that we support our community businesses. We don't need these commercial things. We have them at our fingertips. Louisville is a community. That's what it is. And when I looked at the plans for this development, it's huge. It's taking on a whole new meaning to what Louisville is, and giving this B5 option, it can be whatever for the future. And what are my sons gonna have here? Are they gonna be able to ride their bikes and come home when the street lights come on? Are we asking for a lot of different things? Is our police department able to take care of this? Are we gonna have to hire more officers, which means more cars, which means more equipment, which means more tax dollars? How about our fire department? Are they equipped to take care of this? I know somebody already touched on the schools. My husband's a teacher. Those rooms were built to house 25 kids. Last year we had 34 in a couple classrooms. You're bringing in a lot of residents, and I'm not opposed to growing, but are we really ready for all of that? I think we need to step back and look and make sure that we are ready as a community for something like that before we jump and make this a permanent thing. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Tim O'Rall, 210 Superior, Louisville. These are the people who came. Is there another hearing for the people who are in favor of the development? Everyone here is not exactly enthusiastically in favor. So I hope you're listening. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes.
Hello, my name is Diane Check. I live at 5313 Broadway Avenue. I have listened to all of these remarks and I agree with all of them. The one thing I haven't heard is, has there been an environmental impact study done on what it will do to the neighborhood to pave over that amount of area? I used to live in the city of Canton and I bought a house that was behind the school. It had a ball field there, it was kind of green space and whatever, and they expanded the building and paved the whole area. And having that much blacktop right next to my property raised the temperature in my backyard every summer and made it unbearable. Putting that much paved space is going to impact all of the neighbors around there, and it will also have runoff from all of those buildings. The other thing is having the zoning at the most extreme level. Do you want a gas station have gas station runoff and pollution into neighborhoods? In this day and age, those are top priorities we need to take into concern to make sure that we are protecting our families and our land and not dumping pollutants into it. Please take that into consideration when you make your decision.
I'd like to say so. Can I?
Just go up to the microphone. Give us your name and address.
Ken Corbin, 4350 Gephardt. Now the problem that I have with this entire thing, some of you know me and some of you don't, but the problem that I've had with this whole thing is I had a little sideline online thing going out of my garage, and somebody turned me in saying that there was too much traffic on the street one day out of the week. So what's it gonna be when you put in a gas station and all that other stuff up there? That's going to increase the traffic. It's going to increase the crime rate, the whole 9 yards. And I didn't, like I said, I ran it out of my garage for a couple months. I didn't hurt anyone, I didn't do anything, but yet I get in trouble for that and have to go down the street and rent another building, the whole 9 yards. So, I'm just kind of curious what the ramifications are gonna be when we bring in something large like this.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
My name's Dan Fritchie. I live at 6206 Howland Street, which is just off of Peach. Have you checked with the school board on whether or not this will create tax money for the school system if the levy don't pass coming up?
Yes, ma'am.
My name is Cindy Yoder. I live at 5390 Lush Road. I also happen to be the president of the Louisville Association for Businesses Community. The main concern, aside from my residential impact, my personal real estate, is how is this going to impact the businesses that currently exist? We heard from the owners of Jack and Wiley. We see in the last 6 months, 3 businesses have gone out of business in downtown. We have major parking issues for the downtown businesses. We have major concerns about how we're getting traffic to the downtown businesses. When you put a development in a residential area on the very outskirts of town, you're directly directing traffic away from the downtown businesses. If you're not supporting your business owners, what are you doing for them? You need to really think about that when you make this decision, because there's a lot of business owners that are begging for more business traffic. And the one thing that I see when we look at other developments in other cities, when we think of Hudson, when we think of Hartville, when we think of even North Canton, those businesses are supported by their city. They're supported by their city council and their chamber. And we are directly not doing that by moving the targeted business area over to off of Broadway. I think that that's going to really disrupt the idea of having a vibrant downtown. Louisville has a chance to be a destination city. We have historical downtown areas. We have an umbrella alley that we're trying to boast and trying to promote and trying to become this destination city. But if we don't have businesses to support that, if we don't have a vibrant downtown, and we have a business zone over there and a business zone down on 44 or wherever, we're not doing that area justice. And we are literally undermining everybody that has worked very, very hard to bring Umbrella Alley to Louisville and to make the downtown businesses vibrant. Please think about that.
Thank you, Senator. Yes, Donna.
The reason I'm here tonight is I'm Donna Fuller from 5857 Rosedale. A lot of you know who I am because I've lived this. Whenever they added on to St. Joe's, I, in our neighborhood, got all the water. That lady understands that. When you flatten land that has sucked up water, and you flatten it with asphalt, and you even add on the traffic, you have a water problem plus a traffic problem. And I'm hoping that you listen to this. These people are very worried. I lived it. They had to pipe all in front of my house, up the side of my yard, and all the way up to the hospice, and do these retention and detention on all these ponds. Well, just like the one on the corner of California. I don't see anybody over there checking it out or cleaning it out. Already I see the traffic problem. The traffic problem is unbelievable. I sit through 3 lights trying to get across. And everyone told me, well, why didn't you cross over to Peach? You couldn't. When you have traffic there, they're not gonna, you can wave all you want, toot your horn all you want, nobody's gonna let you out there. The traffic is a big issue. I would like all of you, just drive down there a couple times a week and to see what it's like. You will not be very happy. And as far as the water flow, you can thank those homes. Whenever you flatten land like that, they are gonna get water. Pat, you know it. I had to fight and fight to get that water, and if it wasn't for Mr. Bosley and us having meetings, honey, I'll tell you right now, I would have moved. But I've been there 40-some years. I like where I'm at. And those people in that area, they don't want to up and move. They don't want to be thrown out of their place because some realtor decides, oh, I'm going to make good money on this. Well, he still has to sleep too. God help him if he knew what was going to happen and he still sold that property and got involved in it. I would be very sad if I got involved in something like that, and then these people are gonna have a little plaza in back of them. Flatten that land and put it by your homes. Put a plaza by all of you. I'd like you to think about that tonight. Just think about it.
You already spoke, Joe.
Yeah, but I got a question. Okay. What's your name gonna be worth?
Okay, let's go ahead. We are going to call the meeting to order.
You had people with hands up.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Some hand up there.
Where's the hand? Right there? Okay, come on up.
I'm sorry.
Judy Phillips, 5374 Willis, I live off of Broadway. I would just like anybody up here that's appearing with these, like even mayors or whatever, I want any of you to raise your hand if you're gonna be anybody affected by the flooding that this development goes through. How many people are gonna be affected by flooding? How many people on here are gonna be affected by flooding and floods? How many people are going to get flooded out of their homes?
Okay, thank you. I said thank you. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and call our council meeting to order. Where? Okay. We got two more. Wait a minute, Don. The lady in front.
Yes, I see.
My name is April Buchanan. I live at 6069 Peach Street. I guess I'm selfish. I look at all this and I look at our neighborhood, and most of the people, my neighbors, are the neighbors I've had. I've lived there 64 years. And a lot of them are still there. They're old like me. You know, we're there. We have a couple young families that have moved in, but basically it's us. And we like what we see when we walk out the door. We like it that it's quiet. We like it that it's familiar, that it's the way that it was basically when we moved there. It hasn't changed a whole lot. The road it's not dirt any longer, it's paved. But basically we like it. And the thought of having a mall or a gas station or whatever, I have no statistics about anything. I just know that personally, emotionally, this is how I feel. My children were raised there. My grandchildren only know my home. My great-grandchildren only know this home. And I think that it's like a continuation of what America is. It's the family, it is the neighborhood, it is the people around you, the people that you associate with daily. And the more people and more things you put in, the harder that becomes. If you have traffic going up and down, our street is terrible now. If there's more traffic on it, we won't go across the street as much to see our neighbor because we'll be afraid. Our children, our grandchildren, great-grandchildren, I'm not gonna let them out in my front yard for fear that they'll go out in the street and get ran over. If you have a gas station, you have to supply that gas station with gas. So there's gonna be a tanker coming from some direction going to that gas station. And we'll have fear that we didn't have before. And like I said, I guess I'm selfish. I just want it to be the way it was. I know it can't always stay that way. We have to have some change, but I do think we have to look at the as they say, the big picture, and try to take into consideration how people feel here. You know, maybe not always up here, but maybe in here some more. Thank you.
This will be the last question. Go ahead.
My name's Don Keefe. I live at 9020 Louisville Street. And I'm a trustee of the township, and I'm here to represent all the people behind me. I talked to a few of them, and I've also talked to a few sitting up there. And you know their concerns, and I've made that clear to you. I'm up here to hopefully amplify that a little bit. The one lady said 44641. A lot of you know that site my wife runs, and I'm a firm believer in that, all of us together. The B5 to me is pretty small. That's gonna open up Pandora's box in my opinion. And I think you might have somebody on your zoning or your panel, I think, vote against that at one time. But I'd like you to listen to these people. They're a bunch of good people, and they're looking out for the best of everybody. Thank you for letting everybody speak. That's very nice of you, and thank you.
So the people want to speak too, I'm sure. There's a whole bunch of them back there have something to say.
Well, they need to
You're
put
gonna
up
cover
their hands, sir.
I did put them on.
Okay, come on up and speak then. Come on.
Okay, thank you.
I keep looking out there and nobody's putting their hand
I
up
put
out
it up
there.
and they said that's the last speaker. My name's Gary Reed, I live on Apple Street. And I don't like any of this, I don't like what they're doing. I've seen it in Cuyahoga Falls, I've seen it up by Cleveland. Once they start building, it gets like a blob, it just keeps going. It'll be across 62 next. And what's there now isn't bad, but you know yourself, eventually, when it runs down a little bit, we're gonna get the trash. I lived in Canton most of my life, so I know about the trash. I've got a beautiful home worth well over $250,000, and I don't want you guys annexed, and I'm happy with Nimishillen, the way they do. I'm sure the people here, a lot of them are retired people. They're on a fixed income, and they can't afford for their taxes to go up. And that's what'll happen if you guys annex it. The taxes are gonna go up. The township is more lenient on what they do. They're not as strict. I bought that house because it was rural. I didn't buy it. If I wanted to live in the city, I'd have bought down here someplace. That's why I moved out of Canton. And, you know, you guys just keep annexing, stealing Nimishillen's property, basically, which, if that's what it is, that's what it is. But I'm sure all these people here that's retired on the fixed income can't afford to spend more money because you're gonna annex it, and that's exactly what's gonna happen. And I'm sure most of them here aren't real happy with it. I know I'm not. I bought it. I used to have deer come through my yard. I had pheasants run in the yard. I still got squirrels. That's about the only thing. But that allotment down there ruined it for everybody. And I'm sure there's gonna be progress. I'm sure some. But enough's enough. They're gonna build the other side of the road next when they can. And they're gonna go all the way along 62, clear up along Croc if they get a chance. And it just keeps going and going, and there's no stopping it. And you know yourself, once they run down a little bit, 10 years from now, it gets a little nasty, the places aren't kept up as good, then you're gonna get the trash in here. And the reason I moved here, because I don't wanna be with the trash. I lived like 40 years in Canton, I'm 80 years old now, and I've lived here since. And I really like it here, I just don't like what's going on. Thank you, I appreciate it.
Okay, who else wants to speak? Put your hand up or come on up. Okay, come on over.
My name's Dustin Silva, 6306 Plum Street. I'm a third generation resident of this neighborhood. I got a son to be the fourth. To me, this project just doesn't seem to fit. It's on the border of our city for one. That's, to me, just says nothing more than just take down the border of our town and just let everybody come in. I mean, people moved here for the fact to have a neighborhood. And what's gonna happen when this project fails in the future? Is this gonna become low-income housing? All these redwood apartments? Is this shopping plaza gonna turn into like the ones on 62 that are vacant and just sitting there that we're paying tax dollars for? I've lived in this neighborhood now for 6 years at my own property, and my taxes have already went up $1,000 since I moved in. We don't have to compete with Jackson. We can stay as Louisville and be a community for the people. Thank you.
My name is Travis Porter. I live at 5455 Francesca. I have two little girls that are growing up right next to this development. You guys want to turn it into something commercial that brings in different levels of crime, brings in trash, it brings in all kinds of things that we don't want in our neighborhood. We're asking you and begging, we've all invested in you. We voted for you, we put you guys in place. Please invest in us. Thank you.
Okay, I don't see any hands, so we're gonna go ahead with council meeting. I'm gonna call the meeting to order. Council, you have before you the March 6, 2023 meeting agenda. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Go ahead and vote.
Ballot,
Yes.
Slackford,
Yes.
Street,
Yes.
Taylor,
Yes.
Aljanser.
Yes.
Would you please bow your head for a moment of silent prayer? Amen. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Ballot,
Here.
Slackford,
Here.
Street,
Here.
Taylor,
Here.
Aljanser.
Here.
I have a certificate of open meeting that the news media was notified of our meeting this evening. Council, you have before you the minutes of the February 21st, 2023 council meeting. Are there any additions or corrections? Hearing none, they stand approved as presented. At this time, we have persons appearing before council. David Held, Executive Director of Star-Tusk Wayne Recycling District, to speak about the single hauler and recycling. Come on up, David. And since you did sign up to speak before council, you will have 5 minutes to speak.
All right, yes, my name is David Held, and I live at 955 Holly Street in Bolivar, Ohio, 44612. And I'm also the director of the Star-Tusk Wayne Recycling District. So I just wanted to give some insight into the curbside waste and recycling program that the council is going to be making a decision on. And right now, Louisville, we have in Star-Tusk and Wayne County, out of the 3-county area, we have 11 out of the 12 municipalities have the curbside waste and recycling collection. And they use the wheeled carts. There's a number of different companies that provide those services. But I want to encourage the city of Louisville to approve the waste and recycling collection. I've been doing this for 20 years, and we've also done this up in North Canton. And I know that it can be, as you're going through that transition, it can be difficult because there's a really strong affinity, believe it or not, for the waste collection. The bins that people use, the days that it's collected. But what we have found is that if you look at city surveys, most of the cities that have a city survey, typically the highest rated service is the waste and recycling. And it's because you put the trash out at the curb and the recycling, and it is gone on that same day. So I feel very confident that if you folks move ahead, and I looked at reviewed the specifications and also the bid specs that you have, and you really have a very, very good deal for the residents. And the reason I say that is because you have the curbside waste on a weekly basis. You have, along with the curbside recycling, where they will give you a wheeled cart for both. You also have a spring cleanup collection, which is included in that price. And then you also have so you'll have all three at one price, which is really great for the community. And what's really important is that you have unlimited trash, which is very unique. You don't have a lot of contracted communities that have the unlimited service. And so just looking at it and after consulting on every one of these curbside programs that we have in the 3-county area, I feel very, very confident that by this time next year, you move ahead with it, that your residents are going to be really satisfied with it. But I know as you're going through this, it can be a difficult, it's change. But one of the other factors too is that the residents, they don't pick up on this in the beginning, but when you go from a community that doesn't have one waste hauler and one recycling company, is that you'll have one day out of the week that the trucks go down the street. You don't have multiple days. You'll also won't have lids flying around because, lids in different cans. It's very uniform, and the reason you get such a good price is if you look at like a YouTube video, they have these what they call these front end loaders, or these Corrado cans that come out to pick up the waste and the recycling, and they'll spend probably like 20 to 30 seconds per household. That's how quickly they pick it up. And that's really why, it's all volume based, that's why you're getting a good deal. So I would just encourage you to approve this, and if you have any questions, certainly we can provide you with any support that you would need, Mayor and your council members. I'll give you my cell phone number, and you can call me at any time, and any questions that I can answer. And so that's all I have to say. Are there any questions or anything that any of you have? And if none for now, then please feel free to give me a call. I know that Tiffany has my number, and I'd be happy to talk with you at your convenience.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Is there anybody out in the audience that would like to come forward and speak about the single hauler? Yes, ma'am, come on up. Give us your name and address, and you'll have 3 minutes.
Okay, thanks. Pamela Park. I have a rental house at 912 East Gorgas. I don't live here, but I own a house, so I have a renter. My problem with it is I live in the city of Massillon, and we had a city contract with Kimball at one point. We no longer have it. But when we were given the option, Kimball gave us the city of Massillon gave us the option to opt out. I mean, you gotta think about the fact that if I have a rental house, I don't have a renter 12 months out of the year at all times. You wanna include this with the water bill. You're making it mandatory. I have one single lady who lives in my house. I just want the option to opt out, because if my house goes empty, I don't want my water shut off. I want people to come in and look at the house. I need to have the water on, but I'm not gonna have garbage to be picked up. I just think that there needs to be an option for people who, think about the renters. That's not something that they want to have forced down their throats. Again, you're supposed to be taking opinions of all the people. The other thing that I wanna bring up, because I went to one of the other meetings, I didn't make it to the first council meeting, but the first reading. And the guy from Kimball and someone else got up and spoke about how there's no money in recycling. But I have with me some charts on the actual price of what you make per ton on recycling. Kimball doesn't do this for nothing. There is money in recycling. As of 2018, $30 a ton for paper, $81 a ton for corrugated cardboard. You get $1,400 for aluminum. This is per ton. You gotta think about how many trucks that are gonna be going through. There's 28 cubic yards per garbage truck. It's just something I think that the council needs to take into consideration. There are some people who don't need the trash pickup, that don't need it forced down their throats. Thank you.
Thank you, Pamela. The gentleman in the orange coat?
Yeah, kind of stand out, huh?
Yeah, you kind of stand out, yeah.
Hi, my name's Craig Deating. I live at 1605 California Avenue. I was here at one of the informational meetings, and it seemed like the city council here has already got set in their mind that Kimball's gonna be the carrier. And everybody came and gave their opinion. It was like 50-50 because of the sloppy work Kimball does, even though the representative said, oh, don't worry, it's gonna get better. Oh yeah, sure, like the sky's falling. You're not giving anybody a chance. You're just gonna pass this through. You're not giving anybody an opt-out from what I understand from the meeting. I called the last time, it was real witty because Kimball missed another pickup in our neighborhood. I don't have Kimball, thank God. And I called that guy right there, and I said, there's trash all over my neighborhood. Hey, well, I can't do nothing about it. You're the city. Why can't you do something about it? So I think it's bullcrap. You ought to let the people have a say in what's going on, just like the thing down at Peach and Broadway. But you're not. We elected you to hear our voices and put it out there. But you're taking this like it's a dictatorship. It's not gonna fly. They'll get you in the ballot box if you don't listen to it. Thanks, that's all I got to say.
Thank you. Okay, there's a lady in the back, come on up.
Kathy Pugh, 620 North Nickel Plate. I want the option to opt out. I have a business in Canton. I have trash service there. I can take mine there. I don't want to have to pay mandatory for you deciding that I need your trash. I don't. And I was a little surprised. Everybody here got this paper for your ordinance 2314 that you're doing the first reading on. And it's very, very deceiving. Being an ordinance of the council, the city of Louisville, Stark County, Ohio, amending and revising all associated ordinances as herein addressed in chapter 931 of the codified ordinances of city of Louisville. You don't tell them that in that ordinance, you added the waste collecting to the bill. Nowhere there do these people know that after next council meeting, you'll pass that. And to be honest with you, I'm surprised you're not doing it as emergency, because you write it this way all the time and you pass it as an emergency. Are you gonna put extra fees on like you did with all the water bills and the water towers and the storm sewer? When you put this on, are you gonna keep on increasing? You keep on saying all the other cities have it? Well, you know what? Most of the other cities don't double tax their residents either.
Okay, we don't have any other for the trash? Okay, we'll move on then. Let's move to ordinance number 23-06. Speak into the microphone, please.
being an ordinance amending the boundaries of the zoning districts as provided by ordinance number 7933, whereby changing the lands described herein from R1 single family low density suburban residential district to B5 general retail office and motorist services business district.
I'll make a motion, we bring ordinance number 23-06 to the table.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, I mean, can I start?
Sure, go ahead.
Sure. First of all, I'd like to thank everyone for coming tonight. I know I actually had a chance, I talked with, Mr. Chase and Mr. Upperman and several of you, in the weeks leading up, and I know many people on council had the opportunity as well. And I just want everyone to know it's nobody sitting up here on council. We don't pick where development's going. So it's when this comes, it's not choosing one location or another. It's not, why aren't you doing this here? Why aren't you doing this here? In general, we want to, to raise all ships approach, and we want to help everybody where we can. But with this particular plot of land, as I believe Mr. Chase mentioned in our 2016 plan, the use of having, in neighborhoods, having other amenities there where we could actually bring people in or neighbors could benefit, that's something that is a general best practice that you see in all cities, whether you're in, local places at Hudson or Green or, where my sister lives in Columbus. I mean, there's places where you can walk and you can benefit that. However, none of us want a gas station. None of us want heavy industrial. And for that reason, just through conversations we've had, I think a lot of people brought up good points today. And I'd like to make a motion to table ordinance 23-06 so that we can possibly have some conversations with the developer, Mr. Curzan, and not have quite as wide of a zoning classification for that property with B5, which is proposed. And hopefully we can find something that maybe not everybody will agree to, maybe not everybody will like, but it'll better fit the characteristics of the neighborhood. It'll be more respectful of where you all live or where many of you live, and that it can be a win for all people of 44641.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, let's go ahead and vote.
Ballard,
Yes.
Slackford,
Yes.
Street,
Yes.
Taylor,
Yes.
Aljanser,
Yes.
Therefore, this ordinance has been tabled, and we will not be deciding. Okay, let's go on to ordinance number 23-11.
We'll be back.
One quick question.
We are doing our meeting right now.
We're happy to stay afterwards and talk to as many people want to stay.
Yeah.
We have to
All I
continue
wanna
on
know
with the
is, will
agenda.
we be notified before there is a real vote since it was tabled?
It was tabled because we were not making a decision on it.
Understood.
Yeah.
But are you gonna have a meeting to vote tomorrow without us in the public
No,
knowing that?
no.
Will we be informed when?
You'll be notified, yes.
Thank
You
you
will
very
be,
much.
yes.
How will we be notified? They'll put one sign up for 12 hours and take it down.
Okay. Ordinance number 23-11, Tiffany.
being an ordinance amending chapter 905 sidewalks of the codified ordinances of the city of Louisville.
I'll make a motion, we bring ordinance number 23